do that though, I want to take a look at a module inside the TK interface library called Image TK. And this is what allows you to take an image file from outside of Python or just outside of TKImage and convert it. And the most important thing is that it allows you to take a pillow image, which is what we've been using, import that image into pillow, and then convert that image, that pillow image, into something that you can use in TK. You can display it on a label, you can display it on a button, you can modify it, you can do all kinds of things with it. So I'm just going to kind of go through that path of opening an image and converting it so you know how it works. Okay, so in this module, I want to note that I'm importing TKInterface. Thanks for that helpful tip that nobody's ever going to read. I'm importing TKInterface as TK, and then from the pillow library, I'm importing image and something called Image TK. And Image TK is actually the piece of the pillow library that allows us to take a pillow image and convert it to something that's compatible with TKImage, or TKInterface, rather. So if I run this, okay, so this opens an image in, let me see here. I think this is the one I wanted to show you. Let's open this. There we go. Okay, so I start out with a window that just says Image Viewer. It's got one button at the bottom that says Open Image, and the rest of it is composed of a giant label. Okay, so that label is going to be what I show the image on. So when I click Open, I'm using the Open Image or the Open File dialog box, and then I just grab anything I want to from my hard drive, and it opens in that label. So it's displaying in a label right now. And from there, I could run filters on it. I could resize it. I could do all kinds of things with it. In this one, it's just an image viewer app. So that's all it does is show the image. But it's basically a proof of concept that says, how are we going to get this file from, or this image from the file into the TKImage label. So I've got TKInterface. I've imported also the file dialog specifically. And then from Pillow, I'm importing image and Image TK. So in this function called Open Image, this is where I'm doing most of the work. I've got another function that will resize the image. And so I give it the image a max width and a max height, and then it resizes the image so that it fits inside that max height. So basically, I'm using that to make sure that that image is resized so it fits in that label inside the interface properly. So resize image, and then the rest of this is pretty much just creating the interface. So I've got the window, I've got one label, I've got one button, and that button triggers the open image function. So open image is pretty straightforward, but here on line 8, what I have is I'm using the file dialog object, or the file dialog ask open file name method to open a file, and that dialog box, or that method, returns the path to that file. If I opened a file that was inside the same directory as my script, then it would just give me the file name. But what it's going to give me is the full path to that file. And if I print that, you can see, so print file path. So if I run this, there's that. You can ignore these little warnings. That's not anything to worry about. But if I open that file, then what it returns is that the full path from my root of my hard drive to that file, which I can then use to open any file on the computer. So I have that, and then it says if a file is selected, and the reason that I have to have this instead of just jumping into this code is that if I click cancel in the open file dialog box, then it won't give me a file path. So I would get some errors if I had that. So if file path, so if that exists, then I'm going to use the pillow image open method using the file path. So it creates a pillow image. The next step is I'm getting the dimensions of the label, and I'm putting those in max width and max height. And that allows me to resize the image, right? Using that image resize, or the resize image function that I created. So it's resizing the image using that max width, max height, and putting it back into image. So it's getting it ready to show. Once I've modified the image using Pillow, then I'm using image.tk.photoimage, and I'm giving it that image object, and what it returns is a TK compatible image. And then I am changing the configuration of the label so that the image is equal to TKImage. Okay. And that's the whole function. So it's pretty simple. The main things you need to know is you need to get the path to open the file, and you need to create a pillow image using image.open. And then you take that and you're going to feed that to tk.photoimage to create a TK image. And then at that point, that's what the TK image is, what you can put on a label. So if that's the workflow there, as we take an external file, convert it to open it in Pillow, do whatever we need to do to it manipulation wise. All the manipulation happens in Pillow. Then that Pillow image is converted to a TK image, and you can display it inside the interface at that point. You can do a whole lot of stuff with TK, and there was one more thing I wanted to turtle. Oh, there it is. So I created this little app just for fun, because one thing that I said earlier in the class that you may or may not have remembered is that when we use the turtle inside Python, that's actually using a TK interface. So I can actually embed a turtle canvas in one half of my window here, and then I can use these buttons to control the turtle, and I can even change the color. It's like the world's slowest Etch-a-Sketch, right? So just sort of a proof of concept, and this is pretty easy to do. I'll just run through the code real quick, or just show it to you. You can see here I've got the setup, and then I've got little functions that control the turtle: T forward, T backward, T left, T right, and then a color. Change colors just goes through this array of colors one step at a time. There's a clear button, and then I'm just adding these buttons. So TK button inside the control frame. The text on the button says forward. The command is move forward. And then I'm just packing it with 10 pixels of padding around it. So pretty straightforward. Nothing really new as far as what we've learned in the class. It's just combining things in different ways. And that's sort of what you'll find at this point in your progress through the class, is that there's not a whole lot of really new stuff that you're going to encounter. It's just taking the stuff that you've learned and remixing it in different ways. So let's let's